Just before we wrapped to go to lunch, the investigating officer, who is still currently on the stand in the state's bid to deny the accused bail, basically says that the release of the accused on bail could spark a community protest. He also says that the community could also fear and would feel that the justice system is being disrespected, and could even refer to it as useless. Those are the words of the investigating officer. But just to get to the crux of what took place inside court, the investigating officer also told this court that the same vehicle that accused number one, Sinohe Matsware, who was a security supervisor at the G4S prison, had basically driven a vehicle in with a corpse on the 29th of April 2022. And this vehicle was a vehicle that was previously hired by the father of Dr. Nandipa Makudumana at OR Tambo International Airport. It was driven to Bloemfontein, and the very same vehicle was used by Sinohe Matsware to transport this corpse into the Mangaung prison. And we're told that this was round about 5 o'clock on that day, and it was the time that Matsware was reporting for work. There were questions about, where this corpse was coming from, and we're hearing from the investigating officer that the corpse had come from the National Hospital. Question again, how did it land in Matsware's position? Quite startling, we understand, that this was the corpse that was claimed by Dr. Nandipa Makudumana, and she had purported that it to be Zanda Moyo's brother. She then claimed that she was assisting Zanda Moyo to have that corpse buried, and we understand then from the investigating officer that the body was then taken to Tusano mortuary here in Bloemfontein, and the mortuary was supposed to bury that corpse. And the funeral service, we understand, that was the extent to which this had gone. A funeral service was held at a certain house in phase 2 here in Bloemfontein, and that is how Matsware, according to the investigating officer, had obtained that corpse. And basically that corpse was not the one that had been buried, and investigators, upon them investigating further into this matter, had exhumed the grave, and inside the coffin of this supposed funeral that had taken place, 3 bags of mealie meal were found in there. What we also heard, and this is certainly what G4S had also told Parliament, is that proper processes were not followed on the day of Thabo Bester's escape. A number of officials, of course, have been fired as a result. One of the officials was sent to a fake emergency, we understand from the investigating officer, and this is how the car that was carrying the corpse was able to get in. You'd also remember Buti Masukela, who is accused number 6 in this matter, who is also applying for bail. He was a security guard at the prison and allegedly helped Matsware to store this body at a workshop on the premises of the facility. So Thabo Dipulo, who is of course also allegedly implicated in this matter, you would know that he was the former CCTV installer, were told on the next day, this is the day after the body had been brought onto the premises of the prison, it was placed in a trolley dustbin. Thabo Dipulo allegedly placed this body in a trolley dustbin. He pretended to be cleaning the prison yard and had basically taken it to the Broadway area. And this is the area where Bester's cell was circulated, we understand, or was situated. He took it in through, we understand, which was an emergency door. We also understand that he didn't use an ordinary door to get into the Broadway section. This is where basically, Thabo Bester's cell was. And seeing that Dipulo was a technician at G4S, we understand from the investigating officer, this was his way of disconnecting the system in order to get in. So what we understand now, questions about why these officials might have been involved in this daring escape. We understand from this investigating officer that Matsware, who is accused number 1 in this matter and was the security supervisor on that day leading up to the morning of the escape, was paid a total of plus minus 150,000 rand by a TK Nkwana, who we now understand to be Thabo Bester. And these monies were were paid starting in April 2022. This was a month before the escape. He then allegedly paid Thabo Bester, who is the CCTV installer, the former CCTV installer, 40,000 rand. Some of that money was transferred, we understand, into his wife's account, and also the former CCTV control room operator, Diego Makota, was paid 14,000 rand. This is what we're hearing from the investigating officer who is currently on the stand, but also quite crucial, getting to the aspect of where police had also confirmed that the body that was found in Thabo Bester's cell after DNA had been done was that of Chriselda Lewis, and we got to that part of the testimony, and the family of Chriselda Lewis was inside court while the investigating officer was talking about how the links had been made and how devastated the family was. So the family hearing for the very first time from the police investigating this matter, how they came about, the body that was transported into the Mangaung prison to, of course, be a decoy for the escape of the Thabo Bester. Let's bring in Mampopi Bereng now. Mampopi, thank you very much indeed, Mayor. Thanks for always being available to us as the media. What is it like for you as a family listening to that testimony from the investigating officer?
Good day, Chriselda. As you can imagine, it's heart-throbbing. It's like a new revelation. It's so unbelievable that a human being can really plan and, to take another person's life like that just because of money. As I'm sitting in the courtroom listening to how money was deposited from this person to the other, transferred to this, and all in the name of making or planning someone or Thabo Bester's escape at the cost of my nephew's life. I wish I wasn't here today, but unfortunately I have committed to being here all the time. It's just unbearable. It's unbearable. I look at accused number one, I am just wondering how can someone be so heartless. I am looking at all of them. I cannot imagine what was going on in their minds. As I was talking at the funeral, I said prioritizing money over human life, and this is exactly what I'm seeing today. That is confirmed in the courtroom.
I think even more scary, Mampopi, just before we conclude, we're hearing from the investigating officer confirming what we've been told by Chriselda Lewis' friends, is that accused number one is alleged to have known your nephew. They would, be at certain places together. Obviously that must be quite startling for you as a family, that someone so close to one could allegedly be behind what is now being described inside this court.
Chriselda, in Sesotho we've got a saying that that goes like someone is somebody that steps. It's not it can't be directly interpreted, but in order for you to step someone's kidney, you have to be close to the person. Understand? So he couldn't have gotten to that stage or to this mission accomplished if he wasn't close to Gadli. So the dots add at this point. They really add. We were wondering what made him a target, who knew him, and now it's revealed in court that yes, the person very close to him that used to go drinking with him, that used to be his associate, was the one orchestrating all this all along.
Mampopi, thank you very much indeed for your time. We really do appreciate it, despite how difficult this may be. Ralebohame. Thank you very much indeed. Mepopi Ebereng, of course, speaking to us here as she continued to sit inside the courtroom listening to what the investigating officer had said. When the investigating officer was asked about the body, that then was subsequently to be known as that of Katlego Bereng, that was found in the cell of Thabo Bester, the family having to listen to, what had initially happened. We're hearing from the investigating officer that Katlego Bereng had basically collapsed at a taxi rank, and by the time he had reached a hospital, they were told that he was no more. And the family, of course, still wanting answers at this particular time, but quite crucial to speak to them now, as they've just listened to what the investigating officer has said in this matter. We'll be back at 2 o'clock, 2:15, round about there, and that's where we'll continue with proceedings.